What is going on, guys? Chip here. Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG video, where today I have a very special guest coming off of his top two, his finalist finish over at the Australian International Championship. We have Joe Ruettiger here joining us. How's it going, Joe?
I'm going pretty good. How's it going?
Great. So this is your first time on the channel, so I'm gonna give you a second to introduce yourself, let people know who you are, where you're from, and a little bit of your background in the Pokemon trading card game.
Alright, yeah, I'm Joe Ruettiger. I've been playing the game since, competitively since 2010. Gave my first invite in 2011, gave my invite since then. I'm a first-year master playing out of the Chicago area, so, yeah.
Awesome. So first-year master coming away with a second place at an international. That's pretty great. I don't know if there's ever been a first-year master to finish that high, so that's pretty awesome. Congratulations, man. So you decided to play Buzzwole Lycanroc. There was a really popular deck at the tournament. I think a lot of people opted into this deck just because of the consistency of it, you know, being a basic attacker as opposed to an evolution deck. It's kind of like those are the two options in the standard format right now. Do you want to talk about your deck here, why you decided to play it for the tournament, and maybe some of your tech options and like how you ended up on the list you ended up playing?
Yeah, sure. I was actually pretty set on this deck for a while. Me and my friends were testing with it. None of my close friends, besides the Shamancies, ended up coming to Australia. So I didn't get that much testing there, but I was pretty set on the deck for at least a week. We were just considering what could we put into the deck to beat Mill, because we were actually pretty concerned about Mill. The deck very struggles against Mill. Just because you have no energy recovery, but we were thinking about Carbink, because Carbink lets you recover energies, and it's actually pretty decent against every other matchup besides Mirror. So
sure. And it's actually kind of funny, we've never seen, anytime we've seen a Carbink break deck, it's always been the Safeguard Carbink, but really no reason to play that now with not as many EXs in the format, and Energy Keeper Carbink, I imagine, is, just kind of better as a mill counter anyway, you being able to keep your basic energy on board from crushing hammers and team flare grunts and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll let you hop into the tournament report if you want to talk about your rounds. You don't have to talk about every round if you don't want to, but just run us through what day one of the tournament looked like for you.
All right. So day one of the tournament, so round one I played against Glisspod Zorak. Won game one. Lost game two, and then we ended up tying because game one took a very long time. I just bricked game two, so.
Gotcha.
Then round two, I played against Still Valley Metal. Very easy matchup, just because they usually have to bench a lot of Pokemon, and I can just Dangerous Rogue, and Knuckle Impact sweeps up the board in that matchup. Ended up coming away with a win. Round three, I played against Mark Lutz, who's running Zorak Garbodor, and Trash Lunch is very hard to deal with.
Sure.
Because I also only play 3 ends, so items go in the discard very quickly, and I wasn't able to get that many energies on Lycanroc without having to put too many items in the discard, so I ended up losing very fastly in 2 games.
Yeah, that seems hard for sure. So started off 1-1-1. Is that kind of like a tough place to be at, where you're feeling a little discouraged at that point? Not the best start I'm sure you were hoping for?
Obviously wasn't hoping for that start. Going into the tournament, I knew that 6-2-1 would have been a safe place to be at, to make day 2.
Sure.
So I was actually still feeling kind of comfortable. So, yeah. It was frustrating to play against a Trash Lunch deck because there weren't that many, but I was actually feeling still pretty decent about the tournament at this point.
Nice, yeah.
And then round 4, I ended up playing against Beagle Bulu, which is actually not the easiest matchup. Because first of all, if they go first, it's very hard, because then they just get out turn 2 Beakable and sweep my board. I ended actually up going first game 1, which is a huge advantage, and he opened Grubbin game 1, I'm pretty sure. So them opening Grubbin's huge, because then they have to bench another Grubbin. I can just go 50-30, and then the next turn go 50-30, knock out both Grubbins, which is actually what I did both games. So that was round 4.
Yeah, Bulu's not very good if they don't get Vikavolt set up.
Yeah. Round 5, I play against Zorak Lycanroc. Very easy matchup. They can't really do much. This guy actually didn't even play Mew or Mewtwo. So pretty quick. They can't do much. They can Dangerous Rogue me once, and then they can't do much else. I ended up taking that in 2 games. round 6, I play against Sam Chen in the Buzzrock Mirror. They're playing, actually, I don't know what he was playing, if he's playing the Mewtwo Energy Switch version. He bricked game 1 and 2. I didn't really get to see much.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it was a pretty fast 2 games, unfortunately. Yeah. In round 7, I'm now 4-1-1. I'm playing against another beatable Bulu. This guy drew much better. Game 1, I got swept. He destroyed me. Game 2 went a lot better because I got to go first. And then game 3 ended up coming down to me hitting Energy Guzma off of an end to 2 with me having Abyssal Hand out, and I hit it. So I was feeling pretty good. Won that round.
Nice.
Moving on to round 8, I play against Ryan Sablehouse in the Buzzrock Mirror. He is playing Mewtwo and Energy Switches, which is much better in the mirror than me playing Carving. Personally, I don't think the Mewtwo helps that much in the mirror. But the Energy Switches are huge because then they get to spread out their energies more.
Yeah.
So game 1, it was pretty fast. I just hit more Max Elixirs than he did. Actually, I did not miss a Max Elixir throughout the series, so that usually helps a lot. And then game 2, I'm meat alone. I think I missed the turn. If you miss a beat in the mirror, it's very hard to recover.
Sure.
And then we move on to game 3, and he totally bricks. Like, I think his only draw was Broke a Hill, and he got Abyssal Hand for 1 turn. I actually came down to game turn 3 a time because he ended up cornering me a turn.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But then I had the rock and the energy to take it out. So.
Nice.
So round 9, I'm now 6-1-1. I'm feeling really good because I'm guaranteed day 2. And yeah, I played against Frank Persic, who's running Buzzwole Garbodor, a insanely hard matchup because he runs Trash Lanch, and again, it's very hard to get around Trash Lanch, especially when they're drawing really well, like Frank did. He crushed me. I think the games lasted 10 minutes. So yeah,
Dang.
Lost 6-1. Okay, 6-1 going into day 2.
But hey, still making day 2 at an international, I'm sure that's got to feel great. You're guaranteed a little bit of money, some prize packs, all that stuff, a lot of championship points, and so I'm sure, can't complain about that. I know you'd like to have probably won the last round to give you a few more match points, make it a little easier to get the top 8s, because starting at the bottom of the bracket day 2 makes it kind of a struggle all day, but obviously it worked out for you. You made the climb from the bottom of the bracket all the way into top 8, and so you want to talk about that transition from day 1 to day 2? Was there anything in the day 2 field you were like nervous about going up against, or did you feel okay kind of with the matchups in general?
Honestly, I was feeling really good because the only thing I wasn't feeling that great about was the Buzzrock Mirror against the top players from the US list because they play at Energy Switch. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't feeling that great about that matchup, but everything else was honestly feeling great about. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so run us through day 2.
All right, so day 2, round 10, I play against a Gliscopod Zoroark. He's running Mewtwo, which is a lot better than Mew for me. Mew kind of crushes.
Right. Yeah.
Like, my out is Watch and Learning, which is pretty good, honestly, but Mewtwo is a lot better for me. So our game 1 takes an insanely long time. I think it lasted 40 minutes. I won game 1 barely just because he missed Guzma and then I hit Guzma. Mm. So yeah, 1 around 10 because we did not finish game 2. Round 11, I play against Jimmy Pendarvis, who was playing the Buzzrock deck that I was talking about with the Energy Switches, and it was a very close matchup. Game 1 was the hardest game. It was actually pretty crazy. So he could have hit Guzma. So starting off, he could have hit Guzma, and then he missed it, so he ended up having to pass. And he's just assuming that I have Guzma, I draw, I miss Guzma. And then it goes back to his turn. And then he does everything he can to try and hit Guzma, and then he misses it again. But then coming back into my turn, very high chance of me hitting it. He ends up ending me out of my Guzma that I had it, because I ended up having Sycamoring, and I could have hit Lycanroc or anything. I missed it. So he ices me by ending me, because he just assumes I have Guzma. I did. but he ends me out of it. I have a Abyssal hand, I can draw Guzma, and I miss it again. So then it ends up going to him, and he ends up hitting it.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
So you each had 2 turns there that you both missed. It's pretty crazy when that happens. Doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking. Very. It was a huge mood swings going on there. So yeah, and then game 2, I didn't draw the best. I think he just drew better than me, and I don't even know what happened game 2. I just know I lost. Yeah. So that was round 11. Now I am 7-3-1.
Yep.
So to make top 8, I have to win my next 3 games. To make top 16, which is what I was aiming for, because I get the stipend to Brazil, I have to win 2 of my next 3. So I was actually still feeling pretty confident in my chances.
Nice.
So round 12, I play against another Buzzwole Lycanroc. It was an Australian, so they were running the Mewtwo's or the energy switches. So I won game 1, lost game 2, and then just won game 3. So often me going first, games 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty huge to go first in the mirror.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Round 13, I play against another Vigavolt Bulu.
Oh gosh, 3 in the tournament.
Yes, it was pretty scary. So game 1, I go first, pretty huge in the matchup. So turn 1, I just attach Brookwood Hill for Rockruff, and then just pass. My hand was totally dead. Fortunately, he has to end me. So I get an insane hand. It was like Lycanroc with a strong energy, like Regirock and Supporter. It was an insanely good hand. So I ended up, both games, they were pretty similar. It was just him not drawing the ball. Also, him opening Grub in both games is like an insane nerf to his deck, because I do not believe he ran Floatstone. Because game 2, he attached Choice Band to his active Grubbin. I ended up winning game 1, just so off of me jet punching both of his Grubbins and then going Guzma on another one of his Vigavolts. Because turn 2 actually got double Vigavolt game 1.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. But it's honestly not that bad, because if I go 50-30 and then 130 and then Guzma them again and then go knockout, which I ended up doing, and him only taking 2 prizes off of it. So it was an even trade, and I was just ahead. I was so far ahead of that game. But it was actually pretty scary, because he ended up going Lightning GX. He ran a Xurkitree.
Oh.
And I did not have that many fightings left in my deck to use Dangerous Rogue to kill that Xurkitree, but I ended up drawing out of it. So that was game 1. And then game 2, it was actually the exact same game over. And I honestly don't think anything was different, except I was able to jet punch on the first turn, which made little to no difference. But yeah, games 2 and game 1. So at this point, I'm 9-3-1, feeling amazing, because now I know I'm locked for the Brazil stipend.
That's awesome. Yeah. So for those who don't know, top 16 in championship points in North America at a certain point throughout the season get stipends for the next international championship. So by securing top 16 at this international championship, Joe also secured himself a top 16 stipend for Brazil, which is $1,000 to show up to the tournament, which is pretty awesome, and definitely something I'm sure you're very excited about.
Oh yeah, at this point I was like, I'm on a total free roll. I do not care how I do the rest of the tournament. Like, even though there's one more round, like, top 8 would be amazing, but honestly, I wasn't even thinking about top 8 at this point. I was just so happy that I got the stipend for Brazil.
Nice. But moving into the last round, obviously you're going to do your best to try to win, to try to get into top 8. You want to talk us through that round 14 matchup?
Yeah. So round 13, Jimmy.
Oh, that was round 13. Sorry.
No. We're going into round 14.
Okay, you're something that happened in round 13. Sorry. Yeah.
Round 13, Jimmy Pendarvis played Alex, and so the two records I could have hit, I could have hit a 28 or a 27, but since Jimmy played Alex, I was guaranteed to hit a Golisopod Zoroark.
Okay.
Which is a very favorable matchup for me, because Jimmy beat Alex, or else I probably would have played Alex.
Mm-hmm.
So round 14, I'm going on to the secondary stream, playing against Benji Pham, very insanely good player. Game 1, I just run through. He prizes Mewtwo. I realized that he prized Mewtwo, and I ran through bench. Too much. Actually, he ended me down to one game one. Or yeah, he ended me down to one game one, but then he ended up drawing 6 off of his end to 4, and
oh yeah,
prize fire penalty.
So last prize that wins you the game.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but that's Pokemon. Game 2. I'm pretty sure I have a really hot start. I ended up attaching to a strong my puzzle turn 1, knocking out a Coco and putting a 30 on a Wimpod. He doesn't even respond with an attack this turn. Like he was very bad. So I ended up just taking 3 prizes very early on in the game, and it's very hard for him to cover since I do have my GX attack, and then I can also watch him learn a Zoroark by using First Impression to kill Zoroark. So very hard for him to recover. He ends up missing again the next turn, and it was just bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up winning round 14, 10-3-1.
So heading into top 8, that's also got to be something that feels great. Top 8 in an international championship as a first year in the Masters division. Congratulations! I know you made top 8 at this event last year, but in the seniors division, is there like a difference in feeling going in? Probably just as excited both times, but is there a difference there?
It's such a huge difference. Seniors in Oceania was honestly a joke last year.
Oh gosh.
The only players I was really worried about were from my own country, like Zhao Zhao, John, and Tanner and Connor. Like those were just the seniors last year that I was only worried about, and it was just like a meh feeling because seniors was pretty easy for me last year.
Sure.
And then getting top 8 in a Masters event where my accomplishments actually kind of mean something. It's a great feeling.
So in top 8, you were up against Azul, correct? So Azul, obviously one of the most accomplished players in the past 12 months or so, multiple-time regional champion, one of the best players in the game. Is there any sort of intimidation factor going up against a well-known player like that in to top 8?
No. There's no intimidation. It's just another game of Pokemon, honestly. Like, I don't care who I'm playing against. Sure, he's a great player, but it's just the matchup that matters to me.
Sure.
I'm going to play as best as I can, and then we'll see what goes from there.
All right, so he is playing the Mewtwo and the energy switches in his Buzzwole Lycanroc. I know you said you weren't as worried about the Mewtwo, but the energy switches did kind of make a difference. So you want to talk us through what that top 8 match looked like?
Yeah, so sure. I'm on the secondary stream again. Playing against Azul. Game 1, I get to go first, which is huge in the mirror. I get an energy attachment ahead of him. So I honestly don't really remember that much that happened in Game 1. I just know that I hit more elixirs than him in Game 1.
Sure.
And I was able to go first. So I had a huge energy lead. He ended up ending me, and I think I just hit a Guzma late game to win. But then in Game 2, Azul never played a supporter.
Oh.
The only supporter he played was Guzma. I whiffed a couple turns, but it didn't even matter because I was just so ahead on my energy attachments. He tried his hardest to do anything to try and stop me from winning. There's a turn where if he could have got corner on my Octillery, I actually would have lost the game because Rockruff was his only Pokemon in play.
Ooh.
He missed the Guzma, so yeah. It was a pretty unfortunate break for him in Game 2, so yeah.
All right, well, taking the win, of course. I mean, it does stink whenever your opponent dead draws, but a win is a win. It's Pokemon, like you said earlier. So heading into top 4, you're going up against the Gardevoir Zoroark deck, Philip Schultz, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
And according, I think, to your tournament report that you just gave, I don't think you had played against this deck to this point. Was it a matchup you were concerned about? Were you familiar with kind of how to approach things? You want to talk about that?
I honestly wasn't concerned at all with the matchup. I actually thought it was pretty favorable. And against Philip Schultz, I ended up going first, which is, in that matchup, it's more huge than anything because unless they start Lele, they can't really stop me from taking a turn 1 knockout. And I just get so far ahead in prizes, which is actually what happened in Game 1 against Philip. I went first, he opened Zora. So he got turn 1 Bridget, just benches, Ralts, Zora. Actually, no, it was Yeah, it was Ralts Zora.
Okay.
And so I got another energy attachment down turn 2 onto my Buzzwole, and then I had a Max Elixir into my Rockruff. So then I put 30 on his Ralts, and I knocked out his active. And then he didn't even get Candy Guardy turn 2. He just attacked me with Lele, which was pretty unfortunate. He has 2 Ralts in his Zora on his bench. 1 Ralt has 30. So the next turn, I Brookwood Hill out a Buzzwole, attach an energy to it, and Guzma his Zora, and then take 2 prizes by knocking out a Zora and a Ralts. So now his board state is just Ralts, Lele, and it is looking very good for him. He can't really do much at this point besides like N and Hope, but I had Octillery out, and I just ran through game 1. He couldn't really do much. Game 2 is a lot closer. He ended up opening Zora and then going Zora Bridget this time because he knew I was going to be able to take a turbo knockout on the Zora. So I did. I opened Buzzwole. Opening Buzzwole is also so huge in the matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Just so I can get off the turn 1 Jet Punch with ease. Yeah, so I Jet Punch, knock out a Zora, put 30 on another Zora because it's like not that likely that he gets 2 Zorks, or at least it's kind of likely, but if the off chance that he doesn't, it's like very, very good for me.
Yeah. So
then he goes Candy Guardy turn 2. The reason I didn't put the 30 on the Guardy was because the 30 didn't really matter because he was gonna, like in my head, he's just gonna attack with Guardy this turn anyway. So it didn't really matter if I put the 30 there because I'm just gonna Jet Punch again because he can't one-shot me. So 30 there doesn't really matter. And my plan ended up working out. Next turn, he hits me for Brilliant Arrow for like 90, and then I ended up Brookwood Hilling on another Buzzwole. I attach a Choice Band to that Buzzwole, an energy, and then I Guzma his Zoroark, and I hit it for 120, knocking out a Zora. So now I'm at 4 prizes, and his board state is Gardevoir, Zoroark, Lele. And yeah, he hits me again. Well, actually, he hits me with Lele this time because my active Buzzwole has a Choice Band and it has 1 energy, so I can't really retreat it. And he also ends me, but fortunately, I ended up getting another Guzma, and Guzma attaching to my Lycanroc, Guzmaing up his Lele, and then Knuckle Impacting to knock it out. So now I'm down to 2 prizes, and his board is Lele and Gardevoir. But this game actually ended up going on for a long time because he was able to enhance hammer me and just constantly like disrupt my board state with Gardevoir. And it ended up coming down to me having my board was no energies on board with an Octillery, Rockruff, and a Remoraid. And so I was like, all right. I was thinking about my game plan for game 3 already because he ended to 1. They're just taking a random knockout by Jet Punching. And I was just thinking about my game plan for game 3 already. But then I top decked Octillery.
Oh, nice.
I was like, okay, this is huge. So I played my hand down to 0, and then I Abyssal Hand for 5, Brookwood Hill and everything. And then I hit Max Elixir Energy. I'm like, okay, it's the first piece of the puzzle. Because all I need to do is Claw Slash to knock out a Zoroark on his bench. So then I hit my Max Elixir, attach my energy. It's like, okay, we're moving. And then I played down my other Octillery because off of the Abyssal Hand, I got Octillery, Max Elixir Energy. And then like in Ultra Ball, it's something else. It doesn't really matter what I got. So I attached to Rockruff, Max Elixir to Rockruff, and then end up Abyssal-ing into Sycamore. And I have my like 12 cards. I hit Max Elixir and Lycanroc and my 1 energy being in my bottom 5 cards. So I was able to Max Elixir, attach it to Rockruff, and then Claw Slash his Zoroark for game.
Very nice. So getting the win there into top 4. Heading into the finals, you said coming in to the tournament, you just wanted top 16 to get that Brazil stipend. Top 2 is definitely a lot better, a lot more than that. So I'm sure you're feeling great heading into this point. And you see you're going up against the same matchup you just beat in top 4, Tord Reklev, one of the most decorated players in the game at this point. At this point, a 2-time international champion. I know you said you don't get nervous about the players that you're going up against whenever you play games, but is there any sort of worry about like nervousness about just going into the finals of a tournament in general?
It was actually different because this is the first time I was playing the main stage. I was on the secondary stream 3 times in a row. So this is the first time they're actually streaming me, so that was a little different, but it wasn't really different at all. It was just that like the camera was on me now.
You knew the camera was on you now, like.
Because they never switched over to the secondary stream before because my games finished so quickly. So it was a little different, but it wasn't that big of a difference.
So going into like obviously top 4 finished, and then top 4 finished on Saturday, and then the finals was to be played on Sunday. How did you spend your Saturday night? Did you practice the matchup at all? Did you do any sort of preparing, or did you just kind of take the opportunity to rest, relax, get a nice dinner, and sleep up and make sure you're well rested for the next day?
I just went to dinner around 6, and then went to bed around 9, and I got a lot of sleep.
Nice. It's a good way to prepare for important game of Pokemon. So
if my main friend group was actually there, I probably would have partied a little bit. But they weren't, so just went to bed early and got some sleep.
Very nice. All right. Well, heading into the finals, getting up there onto the stage, you see the juniors go, you see the seniors go, and it's your turn. It's up against Tord, and the game starts. You want to walk us through what the finals looked like for you?
So I was pretty confident in the matchup. It's Gardevoir Zoroark. The only thing that really matters in the matchup to determine how the series is honestly going to play out is the coin flip. And he ended up winning the coin flip going first game 1, so that's huge. Yeah. And so game 1, it was a very close game. I actually ended up misplaying super hard game 1. I was trying to play really fast because I knew I was behind, and I ended up max elixir into my Sudowoodo when I should have put the energy on my Rockruff, and then I could have Dangerous Rogue and killed this Gardevoir. But instead, I put it on Sudowoodo just trying to play fast because I knew we were taking a lot of time in game 1. And I ended up shuffling after and then catching it to my Sudowoodo. I was just thinking, this game, I've lost this game. And I ended up scooping the next turn because I did that. I still might have lost. I actually think I would have had a lot better shot. I would have went down to 3 prizes. He would have probably Guzman and killed a Buzzwole next turn with Mew. Then having to and he had multiple Zoroarks out, so the game definitely would have been a lot closer, game 1, if I didn't misplay so hard, but yeah.
So it's obviously, anytime you make a mistake like that, it's kind of hard to, get over it, but you got to shake it off, you got to move on. Did you have a hard time recovering from that, or did you kind of shake it off real fast and you're like, all right, let's just go to game 2 and win 2 more games?
No, I was just like, I'm an idiot, and then I try not to let stuff like that tilt me. It was pretty frustrating just because I misplayed on stream. But one time I'm on stream, I make this huge play. It might cost me the game. But yeah, it didn't tilt me that hard.
Sure.
I just shrugged it off and moved on to game 2. I'm going first game 2. It's huge. And Tord had a terrible start. I ended up just going 30-30 and then knockout, and then game 2 was just me sweeping up the game.
Yeah, game 2 was pretty quick.
He couldn't really do much. And then game 3, he's going first, and I don't start Buzzwole. The biggest thing was me not starting Buzzwole in that game, so I couldn't get the turn 1 knockout, at least the guaranteed knockout on his Zora or Ralts, but he started Zora, so it would have been pretty nice to start Buzzwole. And yeah, so game 3, he just got turn 1 Bridget, and just set up his whole board. Got turn 2 Gallade actually, which is, or actually was that game 1? I don't even remember. Game 3 was pretty bad. I ended up having, so I actually did not know that he prized Mew. That was the biggest thing. I saw people were saying I played pretty safe, but I guess that's hindsight 2020 because if I could have overcommitted, just knowing if I knew he prized Mew, I would have just totally went in with absorption. Would have had 1 energy on the field, and going in with absorption means I can't Dangerous Rogue the next turn, and it's very hard. So, hindsight 2020, I would have absorption the one tournament I could have knocked out his Gardevoir because I would have hit the max elixir and attached to Buzzwole. But unfortunately, did not know his Mew was prized, and I did not go for that play. I went for the much safer play, just with the same game plan, just jet punch around his board, spreading damage, and then eventually building up to a bunch of knockouts. And it worked out pretty well. I went down to 3 prizes, but then I bricked. I drew a bunch of energies. I missed a couple max elixirs, and then I drew my Lycanrocs, but I had a Rockruff prize. I knocked out my Rockruff earlier.
Yep. So. Yeah, your prizes in Game 3 definitely did not help you. I think you prized 3 basic fightings, which made your max elixirs like really low percentage chance to hit. You prized a Rockruff, like you said, so after he took down the first one, your options for Bloodthirsty Eyes were kind of limited, so definitely tough, but that's how it is. And you mentioned earlier about, not knowing his Mew was prized. I think the way you played is definitely totally fine. You're playing safe. Like, you shouldn't go in assuming that, they prized a key piece like that, because if you do go in Absorption GX and he does have his Mew, you leave yourself with, like, basically nothing, kind of like you said. But it's just how it works out sometimes. So finishing up finals, Tord comes out on top, of course, 3-time international championship. But once again, like second place, you shouldn't feel bad about that at all. I know it's never fun to lose in the finals, but you come away $5,000 richer, correct? And 400 championship points puts you pretty firmly in top 16 for potentially the next international stipend as well, so I'm sure that's feeling great. Are you close to top 4 at all for travel stipends or travel awards?
If I would have won, I would have put myself in the top 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm currently number 8 with a 200-point cushion for 16.
Okay.
So feeling pretty good right now.
Nice. Well, congratulations once again, like I've said. Is there anything else you want to say about the deck before we move into shout-outs to close out the video? Looking back at the tournament, do you think there's like anything you would change, any adjustments you would make, stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. Looking back on the tournament, I honestly probably would take out carving for energy switches, because carving, like the main matchup I played throughout the whole tournament was the mirror, and like I said, the energy switches help an insane amount in the mirror. Even though I actually only dropped 1 series to the mirror, I definitely would put in energy switches for carvings.
Sure. Well, cool deal. I will give you a second here if you want to give any shout-outs, any plugs to social media, stuff like that. I'll give you a chance. Feel free. The floor is yours, man. All
right. Shout out to Wes Hollenberg, Ian Robb, Alex Szymanski, Alex Kreckler, and Christian Mensky for helping me test for the tournament. Huge shout out to them. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Joe. Congrats once again, guys. Feel free to check out this deck. Oh, one other thing I want to ask you. Heading in to St. Louis, are you planning to go to St. Louis? I assume so. You're local to Midwest, sort of. So, do you think Buzzwole Lycanroc has a chance to have a good showing at that tournament?
I actually think it would be one of the more popular decks there.
Sure.
So.
Cool. And what kind of changes do you think you'd make to the deck with Ultra Prism included?
I don't even know. I think the deck's pretty good where it is right now. Cynthia probably helps. Yeah.
Sure. So maybe just Cynthia's, but as far as like other cards in the set, probably not much else to add to it.
Yeah. The set doesn't really bring that much to Buzzrock, so.
Just being such a strong, consistent deck definitely still makes it a solid contender, though, I would say. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Shout out, thanks, and congratulations once again to you, Joe. Thanks for coming on. I enjoyed having you on to talk about your tournament. So. Thank you guys for watching. That is going to do it for us. Feel free to follow me on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. All those things, as always, guys, at Trainer Chip. Thanks for watching, and until next time, guys, take care.